Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So I have a bunch of Reddit stories for you today. I think I have 5 and they are completely, I'm going to blind read them. I haven't read any of them except for the titles, but the titles seem kind of fun. So we're just going to see how it goes today. It is a beautiful day outside, which is why I'm sitting here in the living room. This is just, I'm sitting in the window. This is just sunlight. It's beautiful. We're officially in July, which is crazy. I have an iced coffee. This is my 3rd coffee today because for some reason, I decided it was a really good idea to go to bed at like 3 a.m. last night for no reason other than I couldn't put down my phone. I was just scrolling, which is really dumb because I had to get up at 7:30 this morning with my toddler. So 3rd coffee of the day. I'm literally just running off of caffeine and stress. So the very first one I am going just based off of the title. It was posted a month ago and it's called "Am I the A-hole for saying that my brother-in-law and his future wife can't sleep in our bedroom while we host them on their honeymoon?" Immediately, ew. Like, I, 35 female, and my husband, 36 male, are fortunate enough to live in an area of the world that is very beautiful and as a result, frequently visited by honeymooners. I wonder where it is. My brother-in-law, 30 male, and his soon-to-be wife, 28 female, are getting married in August and want to have a honeymoon in the area where my husband and I live. They asked around a month ago if they could stay with us on their honeymoon. We agreed. They are family, and also they are tight on funds. We're happy to help and host them. However, they asked my husband last week if they could stay in our bedroom on their honeymoon. We have a 2-bedroom home, and our guest room has an air mattress that is used for when friends and family stay. Otherwise, it is my work from home office, which is why we don't have a regular mattress in there. My brother-in-law didn't really get into the specifics of why he didn't want to get the best. My brother-in-law didn't really get into the specifics why they didn't want the guest bedroom / air mattress, but the gist seemed to be that we don't think the air mattress is honeymoon appropriate. When my husband asked me about it, I was honest with him, and I said I wasn't comfortable with his brother and his new wife sleeping in our bed for their honeymoon. No. My husband agreed with me. Apparently, us saying no to this request has caused some issue in my husband's family, particularly with his sister, who is saying we should just let brother-in-law and his future wife stay in our room as it is their honeymoon and they shouldn't have to sleep on an air mattress. Go to a hotel. We love everyone in this scenario, especially brother-in-law and his future wife. And we don't want to cause a rift, so my husband is leaning towards acquiescing their request. However, I'm not down to change my mind on this. It honestly really grosses me out because I believe the reason they want our bedroom is so that they can comfortably bang during their honeymoon on a regular, not air mattress. So many things wrong with this. First of all, my parents-in-law, well, my boyfriend's parents, we're not married yet, but they're basically my parents-in-law. They're coming to visit from Mexico very, very soon, actually in just a few weeks. They're going to be taking our bedroom while they're staying here. Not that I really want to think about it, but I'm going to assume that they're not going to be banging on our bed. But like, I don't even want to say that out loud. I'm sorry if you guys are watching this video. They're here for a short visit. I'm hoping that they can hold out. The difference between coming for a visit and like being on your honeymoon, basically the whole point of being on your honeymoon is to bang. Like, come on, like to just to enjoy each other's company, you know? So first of all, why are they wanting to be in a house with their family for their honeymoon? I would rather go somewhere that I can afford, you know, have like a staycation, but I would rather be alone than to be somewhere warm with family for my honeymoon. You know, it just wouldn't feel like a honeymoon to me because I would want to do it in every room of the house. I'm sorry if my family is watching this. I hope you guys are. That's the whole point of the honeymoon, is it not? Like, why would you want to go and stay with your brother and his wife on your honeymoon? If you don't want the air mattress, go get a hotel. Take your honeymoon somewhere else because gross. No, I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. I don't blame you. Don't do it. Tell them to get a hotel. Go somewhere else. 'Cause No. Like on the flip side, as the honeymooners, why would you want to go and do it on your brother's bed? Isn't that weird? Wouldn't that be, oh no. There's no, that's uncomfortable. That's uncomfy. It's getting worse. Okay, I'm just moving on to the next one because gross, creepy, that's it. Don't do it. Get a hotel. You're adults, get a hotel. Moving on to the next one. So the original was posted to AITAH and it was posted 13 days ago. And it is called, Am I the a-hole for winning a couple of million on the lottery and giving half to my ex before I met my current girlfriend? So I'm 35 male and was with my ex from school until 5 years ago. We have a child together too that we both co-parent really well. We never fall out with each other, but the love and attraction has all gone. She cheated on me, but there's more to the story than that, and it's not all on her. 2 years ago, I happened to win around £4 million on the lottery. My first thought was my child. I wanted him to grow up with an equal life like he has mine, and the less stress his parents have, the less stress he has. I decided to split my win with my ex. We both have been sensible with the money. I quit my job as a mechanic, took my sports and football coaching badges, and with a friend, we started a business, going around primary schools, doing classes in all sorts of sports and fitness, and also helping out at local sports clubs and teams, coaching methods, etc. It will never make us rich, but we will make around 1.5 times the national average wage. I bought a £300,000 house and a £40,000 car, and that's about it. My ex opened up a beauty salon that's doing really well, and she bought herself a house. I met my current girlfriend on a night out about 6 months ago. Things have been going well. She knows I won the lottery, and she knows that that's why I have a nicer house and a nicer car than my income would normally provide. And that's why I like to go away on a couple of nice holidays here and there. She's never asked for anything from me materially and kept insisting on covering half the dates, despite me offering to pay each time. We're getting more serious, but nowhere near moving in or anything like that, or her meeting my son yet. It all came to a head last week when the subject of my ex came up, and my girlfriend said how nice her beauty salon is. We were with a couple of my friends, and one of them said it should be nice, Sam paid for it. She asked what he was talking about, and before I could answer, my friend says, he gave her 2 million quid. My girlfriend was quiet for the rest of the night. And then when we got back to mine, she exploded and said I was still in love with her and that's why I gave her the money, and that I wasn't normal. And no wonder a lottery winner only lives in a house like this and drives a bad car when I gave half away, and that I was a gullible simp. How embarrassed she is by me and how we could be set for life if I hadn't given half the money away. I went on for so long that I told her to leave, and I'm going to bed and I'm not listening to this anymore. I haven't seen her since, and she hasn't answered or replied to any of my messages apart from the random insult. Until today, she said the only way that she could stay away was to ask my ex for whatever money she has left to be returned to me so that she can save face. I told her no, I'm done with her. She again accused me of trying to buy back my ex, so I blocked her. Is this going to be a problem I have with other women going forward? Am I the a-hole for this? Oh my gosh, absolutely not. This girl is dating OP for 6 months and has the audacity to feel entitled to his money. I'm sorry, it's absolutely none of her business what he does with his money, first of all. What he did with his money before he met her, second of all. She's crazy, she's a crazy person. And your ex may be your ex, but she's also the mother of your child. And the fact that you're considering that and being considerate of your son's right, child's being financially stable in both homes is far more than what most people would ever consider in their life. So I think that makes you an amazing person and definitely not the a-hole. Good riddance to this girl. At least you were only 6 months in. The fact that she said we would be better off. She is already considering your money to be her money. And that's a little bit of crazy talk after just 6 months. Ugh. Like, you're not even living together. You're not even talking about your future yet. Like, this is just, ugh. You should not have a problem with this going forward. If you do come across this again, that person is also not right for you. I'm just gonna read this comment because somebody says, not the a-hole in general. She's obviously out of line telling you what to do with your money. You're the a-hole to yourself though, giving 2 million to the cheater who was, they say, effing the community while she was with you. Your kids would have benefited far more from you putting it into a fund for them than letting your cheating ex use it to enrich herself at your expense, which she did. It may be you're right, but your more recent girlfriend, who is actually faithful, was he just sounds angry. Who is actually faithful, was absolutely right about you being an embarrassingly gullible simp. Your ex and the guy she cheated on you with probably had a hell of a laugh when you transferred that money. Why does this guy sound like, I'm assuming it's a guy because it sounds like a guy. Why does this guy sound like he was personally cheated on? This commenter sounds like he was recently cheated on and is still upset about it. He's taking it a bit personally, isn't he? Oh my goodness. It only has 23 upvotes, so I just wanted to read that comment because I thought it was kind of funny. It's obviously like for the best that they broke up, and we don't know the whole story because OP doesn't share the whole story. He just says that there is more to the story and it's not all on her. So I would take that at his word. Anyway, I think that it's really nice. I mean, obviously he didn't have to split it, but the fact that he's splitting it with his ex and that she did use it towards a business. It wasn't a salon for her so she can go do her nails. It's a job. It's a business. Now she owns a business and he owns a business. I think that that's great, even though they're not together as a family. They're now two separate families with a child together, both having their own businesses, building a future, being successful. I think this is a good thing, only because they have a child together. It's for the child, right? It's for the child's future. I think that it's smart. He didn't have to. He was absolutely being kind and generous by doing that, but I don't think that it was a bad idea. I don't think that he's being a simp by giving his ex money. I think it was for his child's future. I think it was a good idea. Anyway, moving along. Am I the a-hole for cutting all contact with my family because of a prank? So I've posted a story on here before, and I got some pretty good advice, so please help. Here's what happened. I, 27 female, have always had a complicated relationship with my family. They've always been the type of people who think any joke is fine as long as somebody laughs, no matter who gets hurt. Over the years, I've tried to brush it off and not let it bother me too much. But this time, they crossed a line that I can't ignore. Recently, I've achieved something big in my life. I bought my first home after saving for years. It's something I worked incredibly hard for, sacrificing vacations, nights out, and basically anything extra to make it happen. I was beyond proud of myself and excited to finally have a place to call my own. Naturally, I wanted to share this milestone with my family, even though our relationship had always been rocky. A few weeks ago, we had a family dinner to celebrate my new home. Everything seemed fine at first. They congratulated me, asked about the house, and seemed genuinely happy for me. But halfway through the night, my brother, 30 male, and his sister, 25 female, handed me an envelope. They said it was a surprise, in quotes, to help me with my house. I opened it, and inside was what looked like a legal notice stating that my house purchase had been canceled because of a clerical error, and that it was now being sold to someone else. It even had an official-looking letterhead, my name, the details on the house. I was completely in shock. Everyone around the table started laughing, and my brother yelled, "Gotcha!" Turns out, they had faked the letter and thought it would be hilarious to see my reaction. I burst into tears, which only made them laugh harder. They even recorded the whole thing on their phones to post on social media. When I finally managed to speak, I told them how cruel this was. Buying this house was the biggest thing I'd ever done, and they turned it into a joke at my expense. Their response? "You're so sensitive, lighten up, it was just a prank." I left the dinner early, completely heartbroken. A few days later, I decided I'd had enough. This wasn't the first time they pulled a prank on me like this. Over the years, they've humiliated me countless times. Once ruining a job interview outfit by accidentally spilling coffee on it. Another time, pretending to lose my dog just to see me panic. I cut off all contact. I didn't make a scene, I just stopped responding to their messages, blocked them on social media, and declined invites to family events. Now I'm getting guilt-tripping messages from extended family saying that I'm being selfish and tearing the family apart. My mom even left me a voicemail crying about how much she misses me and begging me to come back. But I can't bring myself to forgive them. The prank felt like the final straw. I don't see how I can trust them again. So Reddit, am I the a-hole for cutting my family off for a prank? I just want to quickly give my opinion before I go on to the updates, because I'm going to be honest. In the first half, what I'm imagining is she's going to a dinner and then they hand her an envelope. She has time to open the envelope, which takes a couple seconds. She's reading it. Yeah, she has a moment of panic of, oh, the house was sold, but then it sounds like they immediately just all were oh, it's just a joke. Oh, don't worry, it's just a joke. So I'm is that really that big of a deal? Why are you crying over it? But then as I'm reading further, and she starts talking about how it's the entire family and they're doing this over and over and over, they're doing things similar to this, the whole family. I need to know if she's the only one that they're pranking. Are they also pranking the other siblings? Does she ever get in on the pranks to prank other people? Or are they just all pranking her? Because if they're all just pranking her, that's mean. That's making her an outsider. But if they're all just kind of pranking each other all the time, it kind of makes it a little bit different. So I think I need more information. I really don't want to say that she sounds sensitive, but that's to be crying, to be in tears and crying over opening an envelope. It's got to be something deeper than that. It's got to be deeper than that. So that's why I think that it's that she feels like she's isolated or excluded or something like that, because it can't just be about the pranks, I don't know. And I gotta read the updates. Hang on. So there's an edit first. It says, edit, thank you for all the advice and support. I wanted to provide an update because things have escalated in ways I've never expected. After I went no contact with my family, I thought that they would eventually accept my decision and move on. But that hasn't been the case. For the past few weeks, my brother and sister have been trying to get me to, quote, see the funny side of their prank. They've shown up at my house uninvited multiple times, banging on the door and demanding to talk to me. At first, I ignored them, but it became clear that they weren't going to stop. One evening, I caught them standing outside of my house with their phones out, recording themselves while yelling things like, she can't take a joke, and let's see how long she can hide. It felt more like harassment than an attempt to reconcile. The final straw came when I discovered my car had been egged overnight. Okay, that's not funny. It's hard to get egg off of cars. It's hard to get eggs off of anything. Once it dries, it's like cement. And my security camera caught my brother and sister doing it. Okay, so the security camera caught them throwing the eggs. Let's just be clear. I confronted them through text, telling them they'd crossed a line and it needed to stop. Their response? You're so dramatic. You're going to laugh about this one day. At this point, I realized I couldn't handle this on my own. I went to the police and filed a report for harassment. They took my statement, reviewed the footage of my security camera, and agreed that this behavior was unacceptable. My siblings were contacted and warned to stay away from me. Their reaction? More mocking messages, calling me a snitch, accusing me of tearing the family apart. Some of my extended family members are siding with them, saying I should have just talked it out instead of involving the police. But others, especially those who had seen the footage, are horrified and fully support my decision. I feel a mix of relief and sadness. It's hard to accept that my own family could treat me this way, but I also feel safer knowing that I've taken steps to protect myself. I'm focusing on building a new life in my home and surrounding myself with people who respect and support me. To anyone out there struggling with toxic family dynamics, you're not alone. It's okay to set boundaries to protect your peace. Thank you for giving me the strength to stand up for myself. So 2 things. First of all, there's another update that I'm going to read in a second, but I just want to go back to kind of the first thing that I said, because this just seems a little bit of an overreaction on her part for getting a letter. She's saying this is the reason why she cut off all contact. But to me, if you're in a family, you know that your brother and sister are constantly pulling pranks on you and doing stuff like this, they hand you a letter. If your house did sell, why would they hand you a letter? Why would your brother and sister hand you a letter? Why would they have it, first of all? And also, you had enough time to open it and read it, and then they all were sitting around watching you read it and they yelled, "Gotcha." So like you didn't, like, I don't know. That just seems really silly to believe a letter. Like, besides that, everything else, like the eggs, the going to your house, the harassment, because it is harassing at that point if they're continuing, that in itself is a reason to cut contact. They are not adding to your life, especially if they are making your life more stressful and more difficult. You do not have to give your time to them. You don't have to give your energy to them, even if they are family. So if that answers your question, no, you are not the jerk, because this is from Am I the Jerk, right? No, you're not the jerk for cutting off your family. But I'm gonna be honest, I think that the crying over the letter thing was a little weird. Why did you think that someone sold your house because your brother and sister handed you a letter? That I just find that a little bit weird. Tell me if you guys agree, because anyway, I'm gonna read the update. It says, final edit, I think. I know I haven't updated in a while. It also doesn't say how much time has passed in between these updates. So, but she says, I know I haven't updated in a while, and honestly, it's because I've been dealing with all of these things and it's exhausting. Even after filing the police report, my brother and sister wouldn't let up. I wanted to believe they would eventually get bored and moved on, but instead they doubled down. The mocking messages didn't stop. They even bragged about the warning they received, treating it like a joke. My extended family was split and still told me that I was overreacting, while others admitted they were disturbed by my siblings' behavior. Then things escalated. My security cameras caught them trespassing on my property again, this time leaving a mess of toilet paper and shaving cream all over my driveway. This was the final straw. I went back to the police and provided them new footage, showing that they had ignored the warning. This time, I filed for a restraining order. I had more than enough evidence to prove that their behavior was escalating, and after presenting all of the security footage, text messages, and police reports, the judge granted it. They were legally ordered to stay away from me, my home, and my workplace. At first, they acted like it was a joke, but then they realized that I wasn't playing their game anymore. The harassment finally stopped. The restraining order forced them to keep their distance, and for the first time in a long time, I felt safe. Some family members still don't understand why I had to take things this far, but I don't need their approval. I did what I did to protect myself. My home is now a place of peace, not anxiety. My phone is quiet. My life is my own again. To anyone dealing with toxic family members who refuse to respect your boundaries, don't be afraid to stand up for yourself. You're not obligated to tolerate mistreatment just because it comes from family. Your safety and well-being always come first. And if they wanted to call me a snitch for defending myself, I'd rather be a snitch than a doormat. I'm just gonna read the top comment because the top comment has 1.3 thousand upvotes and it has 12 awards. You're rightfully upset because it wasn't a prank. It was bullying. The quote, "It was just a joke," BS is something every bully does to justify humiliating people. They thought it would be fun to upset you on your big night and then take videos of it and post it on social media. Okay, wait, did I miss that part? Did I read that part and then just not absorb they were posting it on social media? I burst into tears, which only made them laugh harder. They even recorded the whole thing on their phones to post to social media. I completely missed that part. So are these guys like one of those prank accounts on social media where they're constantly doing things to people and posting it for views? Because that's just annoying. Honestly, I hate those accounts. I've never liked those accounts. They just seem so dumb, and then like 90% of the time they're just fake anyway. How many times can you prank somebody for real? Like, you at some point you know it's coming. At some point you see the camera tripod set up, you know it's coming, and that reaction, like, oh, it's like, come on, like it's just not funny. Anyway, and your mother is crying that she misses you? No, she had an opportunity to rip them a new one about their behavior and about treating you with kindness and respect. She thought that it would be better to go along with the prank. You deserve better than this. I'm glad you finally decided to call an end to the bullying. Don't let them or any other extended family members pressure you into doing anything that you don't want to do. I'm sorry that they couldn't just be happy for your achievement. Congratulations to your new home. It sounds like she's kind of the family target. What's the point? For views? To post on social media for views? The whole thing just kind of seems weird. Another one from AITAH. It was posted 2 months ago, and it's called Am I the a-hole for refusing to make my sister-in-law's wedding cake for free? Okay, let's see. I, 29 female, run a bakery business that I've built from the ground up. It started as a hobby during college, but now it's a registered business with steady clients, a dedicated workspace, and consistent orders during each month. I do mostly weddings, birthdays, and other events. I take a lot of pride in what I do, and it's not just baking for fun anymore. It's my livelihood. My sister-in-law, 33 female, is getting married at the beginning of June. She's my wife's older sister. We're on friendly terms, but she's always had this vibe like she doesn't really take what I do seriously. She made comments like, "It must be nice getting to play in the kitchen all day," or "You're lucky people will pay for something they could probably learn on YouTube." Rude! Always with a smile, like it's a joke, but not really. Oh, she's jealous. She's jealous. I've brushed these comments off in the past. Since they were happening all the time, I just didn't want to stir up any drama. So earlier this month, she asked if I'd make her wedding cake. I said, sure. And what did she have in mind? She sent over some inspo pics of a 4-tier cake and smooth buttercream, floral piping, and real flowers on top, cascading down one side. She wanted it to be a chocolate sponge with raspberry filling in terms of taste. Plus, she wanted me to deliver it to the venue myself on the morning of her wedding, rather than picking it up the day before herself. After we finished discussing everything, I gave her the quote over the phone and a generous family discount. Sister-in-law replied almost instantly that she didn't think I'd be charging her, and the cake would be essentially a wedding gift. I told her I don't typically do wedding cakes as gifts because of how much time and work they take, but I'd be happy to buy her something from her registry instead, or I'd still make the cake at the discounted price if she wanted. She wasn't happy. She said I was being transactional and that it was just a cake, and clearly I didn't want to be part of her special day before hanging up on me. Just to be clear, I've made cakes for free before, but those were small, simple ones for people that I care about or for friends that were going through a rough time. This isn't like my sister-in-law and her fiance can't pay for the cake, and it's not like she's ever respected my work in the past. Meanwhile, sister-in-law's been telling anyone who will listen that I'm making her big day about myself and trying to profit off her happiness. Seriously. My mother-in-law called, and she didn't really ask how I felt or tried to understand where I was coming from. She just seemed overwhelmed and kind of desperate to stop this into turning into a bigger family fight. She kept going on about how it stressed my sister-in-law and how she was being a bit much, but basically begged me to reconsider. My wife is completely on my side and has told her mom to stop trying to smooth things over, but she did admit she sort of wishes that I had just said yes to avoid the fallout. Okay, just knowing how much wedding cakes cost, if I personally was a baker and my sister-in-law was getting married, I would offer to make the cake at no cost. If I had a good relationship with my sister-in-law. That's the key. That's the key. If I had a good relationship with my sister-in-law. These comments that the sister-in-law is making to her, how it must be nice to play in the kitchen all day, as if it's not a job. If it's that easy to learn how to make a cake from YouTube, you go do it. Go ahead. Go right ahead. Giving her a discount, I think, is generous at that point. So just to clarify, the sister-in-law wants her to create this elaborate wedding cake, 4-tier wedding cake with cascading real flowers, blah, 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 blah. She wants her to deliver it herself. Is this sister not part of the bridal party? You're an employee to her. You're not family. You're not in the wedding party. Aren't you going to be busy that morning? But anyway, absolutely not. Not the a-hole. The top comment, which has 17,000 upvotes and 9 awards, says, "I'm impressed you didn't send her a YouTube link so she could learn to do it herself." Not the a-hole. This next one I'm also blind reading. It was posted to AITAH. Am I the a-hole for wanting to divorce my husband after he left our newborn and toddler with our teenage daughter? Well, he went out with another woman. I'm already mad. I feel like I need some outside perspective on a really tough situation. My husband and I have been married for 19 years, and we have 3 kids together, a 13-year-old daughter, a 2-year-old, and a newborn. Our journey to parenthood wasn't easy. We faced a lot of fertility issues, and my husband has been my rock through it all. That's why this situation has hit me so hard. Recently, I started thinking about divorce after I realized my husband had left our young children alone at home while he went out on what appeared to be a date with another woman. It's been difficult for me to process everything. I'm still unsure if I'm overreacting. His parents seem to think that it was a mild mistake, but I honestly find that hard to swallow. A couple days ago, I decided to take a much needed me day. I told my husband how I felt, and he agreed that I could go out for a bit. I went out with my mom and my sister for lunch, a mini shopping spree, and we even got our nails done. It was lovely to have some time to unwind. I left the house around 1 p.m., planning to be back around 6. My husband was supposed to be at home with the kids since we didn't have anyone to babysit on short notice. While I was out, I received notifications from our Ring camera. Around 5:50, I saw something happening at the front door. I called my husband, who assured me everything was fine and he was just picking up pizza. I thought nothing of it, knowing he was with the kids. Fast forward to 6 when I got another notification that he was back home. Due to the long wait at the nail salon and bad traffic, I didn't arrive home until about 8 p.m. When I got inside, I immediately noticed that something was off. I walked into the house to find my toddler playing with spit, and my newborn was crying uncontrollably. My teenage daughter was in tears because she couldn't calm the baby down. I quickly took the baby, changed her, fed her, and got her to bed, checking in with my daughter to see what happened. She told me she didn't know where her dad was, but he had told her to watch the kids because he had something important to do. I confronted her and reassured her that it was a big task for her to handle alone. I felt awful that she had been put in that situation. My husband finally came around 10 p.m., looking somewhat drunk. When I asked where he had been, he casually claimed with his wife and having a good time. It felt like a slap in the face. He took off his pants and acted like everything was normal, completely dismissing what had just happened. The next day, when I confronted him about his absence, he lied and said he fell asleep at 7:35 p.m. I was furious and called him out for being dishonest, insisting that I knew he had been out with another woman. I reached out to my mother-in-law and my own mom for advice, trying to gain some perspective. My mother-in-law minimized it, saying it was a common mistake for men and that I needed to move on for the kids' sake. You know, they need their father at home. I've been doing a lot of soul searching since that day. Part of me wants to fight for our marriage, to believe we can work through this rough patch. However, another part of me is devastated and feels that I deserve better. I think about filing for divorce, seeking child support, and pursuing full custody of the kids so I can provide them with a stable environment. So here I am, wondering if I'm being the a-hole for even considering divorce. Am I overreacting? Should I be more forgiving because of our history? Or am I justified in wanting to leave this relationship for the happiness and safety of myself and my children? Okay, this is a lot. Okay, first of all, you don't need a reason. You never need a reason to leave a relationship if you are not happy in the relationship. So if you want to divorce your husband, you can divorce your husband. As long as the kids are happy and safe, they have clothes, they've got feet, they've got food, they've got love, they've got support, the kids will be fine. Don't do it for the kids will be fine. You need to be okay. You need to be okay so you can be okay for your kids. I'm gonna have to read this again. I'm so bad at reading and absorbing at the same time. I'm sorry, guys. You will notice that. My question is, did she confirm that he is cheating, or is this just a suspicion? We know he left, and he left the kids, which is not okay. You should not be leaving your... Okay, so here's the thing. If I was a parent, I am a parent. If I was this parent, I would not be comfortable leaving my newborn and my toddler at home alone with my 13-year-old. I know maybe it would be technically safe to do so because the 13-year-old is technically old enough they can be babysitters, but I don't think that it was responsible to do so, and I don't think it was correct to do so. So I would certainly be mad, but I don't know if that was an unsafe choice technically. Do you know what I mean? Do you understand what I'm saying? I do not agree with the decision that he left his kids home alone. But I don't know if, like, you were to, for example, if she's going for the divorce and she takes that to the judge saying, well, he left the kids home alone, but with the idea that the 13-year-old was supervising, I don't know if that would be considered a safety issue. Do you know what I mean? So I would love more info about that. All that aside, he's definitely cheating. Like, I'm asking these questions because if she's going to go for a divorce, I think that she needs proof that he is cheating. I think that she needs to do a little investigating, maybe hire a private investigator, something like that, because just the footage of him like leaving and then leaving the kids at home with the 13-year-old, I don't know if that is enough. I don't know if they had a prenup, if there was some kind of infidelity clause or something in the marriage, like what state they're in, what province they might be in. I don't even know if they're in Canada or US or where they are. But I think if you have the opportunity to get proof of your husband cheating or your partner cheating, if that's what you think is happening, I would try to do that before going for the divorce, because like I feel like if she were to serve him papers or something like that without the proof, it's going to be so much harder to prove that he was cheating. So I hope that she does that before she officially brings us to him. With all that being said, her question is she the a-hole for considering divorce? No, you're never the a-hole for considering divorce. If you're not happy in a relationship, in a marriage, and you don't want to be with that person, you don't have to stay with that person, like I was saying before. But if she is genuinely confused, like she saw this event, right? She doesn't have proof of the cheating from what I've read so far. All she has proof of is that he left the house for a few hours at night. He left the toddler and the newborn home with the 13-year-old, and he came home and he was drunk. What I would do is I would have a conversation with him later on, like when you know, emotions are stable, when nobody is drunk, and just have a conversation, ask, you know, what happened, see what he tells you. And then if he can come clean or give you more information or give you an explanation that you can't accept, then I would probably hire a private investigator or try to do a little bit more digging or try to get more information kind of in secret. Try to get proof. That's what I would do. Moving along to the next one. The next one is a quick one, and I'm reading it because it has 22,000 upvotes and 4.3 thousand comments. And it's so short. It was supposed to be AITAH. It is called, Am I the a-hole for making a dairy-free cake with eggs? My friend invited me over for dinner. Our tradition is to bring food when invited to dinner. I asked if I should bring dessert. She said that would be great, but it needs to be dairy-free because her daughter stopped eating dairy. I know a great cake recipe with no dairy, so I brought it to the dinner and it was a big hit. My friend asked for the recipe and I told her. When I got to the eggs, her daughter became upset and ran upstairs. My friend asked why I put eggs in the cake. I said eggs were responsible for the spongy texture. And she said, well, then the cake wasn't dairy-free. I said it was. There was no milk and no milk products in the cake. No cheese, no butter, etc. My friend said eggs are dairy. I was confused. Dairy is milk and milk products, to my understanding. She said dairy is anything that comes from an animal. I asked if honey was dairy then, and she said no because bees are insects. I apologized, but I could tell she's still upset. Am I the a-hole? I've never heard of eggs being dairy before. Okay. I spend way too much time on TikTok, but I have seen this so much. So many people think that eggs are dairy. Is it because they're in the dairy section? When you go to, like, not the dairy section, but they're in like the refrigerated section beside the milk. You know, you always go and it's like milk, eggs, butter. So is that why people think it's dairy? Because it's kind of like it says dairy on the fridge and then like it'll be like kind of beside it or something? Because I don't. Eggs are not dairy. Dairy is milk. Milk and then any products that you can make from that milk. So butter, cheese, yogurt, actual milk. Those are all dairy. Oh my goodness. Beef. Beef is not dairy. Beef comes from a cow. Beef is not dairy. Milk, dairy, yes. Eggs, no. Just going through the comments because I want to see if anybody agrees that eggs are dairy, because I want to hear the reasoning. So it's basically just 4,000 people saying that eggs are not dairy, they are in fact eggs. And then somebody says, this is why we need labels and less confusion. Eggs are protein, not dairy. And somebody comments, dairy has protein too. It's like, people are basically just arguing about nutrition. And yeah. Dairy products have protein too. Eggs are an animal product that contains protein, not just a protein. And then someone says, this is why we have labels on bleach warning people not to drink it. Most people are just saying eggs aren't dairy. She probably meant that she was vegan, not dairy free. Some people are talking about like the difference between kosher. Somebody asks, as someone with a dairy allergy, can you share the recipe? I'd be curious to know the recipe. I want a good dairy-free dessert. Was it a cake? Dairy-free cake recipe? That sounds delicious. I always add applesauce to my muffins and it makes them so moist and spongy. It's delicious. But you do need eggs. You need eggs and then applesauce, and it's just like so good. Somebody just says, your friend is stupid. Apparently it's a common misconception. This is crazy. Somebody says eggs are a poultry product, not a dairy product. But would you consider eggs to be a poultry product? Because when you say poultry to me, I think of the meat. I don't really think about eggs, but I guess technically it is a product from poultry. Let me know. Somebody said, not the a-hole, I used to work in GI and the number of times the MDs had to go over eggs not being dairy in lactose-free diets was insane. I believe it. It has a lot of upvotes. I believe that. I completely believe that. Isn't that odd? My brother is lactose intolerant, or at least he used to be when he was a kid. I don't know if he is anymore, but I don't think he is anymore actually. But weird. Anyway, that is all that I have for you guys today. That was a lot. My voice is kind of tired, but I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day. I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to go pick up my kiddo and go to the water park and enjoy the sunshine, because it is an absolutely gorgeous day, and it's like hot. Not like too hot, but it's like nice and hot outside. So I'm gonna go enjoy the sunshine. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I will see you guys again soon in the next video. Bye.